There are many great military forces around the world, all of which can be easily identified, not only by their marks, but for their skills and for their specialities. But today here on FTD Facts, we are going to dive into the country of Finland and learn a little bit more about its military and its aspects. And with that, today we are going to learn as much as we can about the brave soldiers who make up the special forces of the country known as Finland. Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to FTD Facts, the channel where we talk about people, cultures, and places from all around the world. Now, today, we're looking at the Special Forces of Finland. Now, the reason we're doing that is because, well, we've done a video in the past where we looked at the whole army and the military of Finland, and we've just done several videos talking about Finland in the past, in which I'll put some cards throughout this video and you guys can check out. And you know what? It's just a really cool and fascinating country for me to learn about, and I think it's great that we're going to look at the Special Forces because they don't really get a lot of attention compared to other special forces that are around the world. Now, that being said, guys, when it comes to this particular video, if you guys really want more content about either Finland military stuff or just Finland topics, be sure to hit those like buttons, because if we get over 5,000 likes, then we know you guys are really liking this content and you guys want more. But let's get right into this, and let's start off with the basics of the Special Forces of Finland. And who are these troops exactly? Well, they are known throughout the entire world, being under the regiment known as the Utti Jaeger Regiment. Or, for all those English speakers out there, it pretty much translates to Special Jaeger Regiment. But where do they get the name from exactly? I always thought the Finnish word Jaeger was actually more or less another translation for the word jaguar, but no, I was wrong about that. But actually, if you know somebody that is called a Jaeger, they are considered to be what is known as a hunter, being named after a bird known as the parasitic Jaeger, which is a bird that lives in the northern part of Eurasia. Which basically means the term Utti Jaeger Regiment means that you could really say that they're a special hunter regiment. Now, the soldiers from the Utti Jaeger Regiment fall under the army, and it is one out of 9 different army battalions and regiments, with its main goal being stated on their website as a Army Special Forces unit. As well, they are highly capable of providing executive assistance to other authorities and participate in military crisis management tasks on an international scale where necessary. But of course, this is a facts video about these guys, and in order for us to understand who these guys are, well, we gotta kind of go into history and find out more about where they came from. Because for the Utti Jaeger Regiment, they've only been around since January 1st of 1997. And before that, Special Forces were trained under the Jaeger Parachute School. But that's not where Special Forces within Finland actually began. We have to go all the way back to the Second World War. Because before 1962, the Finland Special Forces were a part of what is known as Detached Battalion Number 4, in which these Special Forces units operated throughout the country from July 1943 till about November 1944. Now, the need for Special Forces units was formed due to the events of the Continuation War, which was a war between Finland with Nazi Germany against the Soviets, which were invading at the time. And during that crisis, the Army had developed the Detached Battalion 4 from long-range reconnaissance teams, which were formed from veterans from the Winter War, which took place from 1939 to 1940. But however, the Continuation War did not continue for a long time. As a matter of fact, it evolved into what is known as the Lapland War. And during the Continuation and Lapland War, which were a major part of the Second World War, they had approximately 650 soldiers that were a part of this Detached Battalion Unit Number 4. And for those who are unaware about what the Lapland War was, it was a war between Germany and Finland, when Finland and Soviet Russia accepted a ceasefire, which ended up with Germany not being happy with Finland and being forced to evacuate. However, this war ended on April 27, 1945, when the German forces had effectively fled the country. But however, it was almost 6 months before that, in November of 1944, that the Detached Battalion 4 unit had become completely demobilized. But keep in mind, when it comes to the demobilization, it wasn't just this particular unit, it was other forms of the military within Finland. As a matter of fact, when Finland publicly notified that the Germans were to retreat in 1944, the Germans indeed began their evacuation, in which at the time the Finnish army had pretty much demobilized it completely, with only about 12,000 people left in the army as a defense force. But during the entire time of the detached battalion number 4, soldiers within this group initially worked in teams of approximately 14. But as for the special forces within this group, they grew anywhere between 40 to 60 men by the time of the end of the war. It's also been reported that during the entire war, of the 650 men, only approximately 90 soldiers died or went MIA. Now, like I stated prior, before the Utti Jaeger program actually started, they were a part of the parachuting school, which was known as the Jaeger Parachute School, which began on February 1st of 1962. And at that time, that's when the Special Forces was really working heavily with the parachuting squadron. But by January 1st of 1997, the military merged with the parachute school and the military policing program, as well as the helicopter wing, thus creating the Utti Jaeger Regiment. Now, in today's world, the Finland Special Forces are located in Utti Kuvola, and currently they have approximately 400 personnel, and they also have 220 conscripts. Which, just so you guys know, within Finland there is still conscription for young males that are 18 or over, which means there is approximately 27,000 conscripts in an entire year for the military. But now let's break it down. Let's look at this particular regiment as a whole and see what sort of departments they have. Of course, within the Utti Jaeger Regiment, there is the Special Jaeger Battalion, the Helicopter Battalion, and the Support Company. For the Special Jaeger Battalion, they pretty much are the soldiers on the ground. They are training specifically for Special Forces operations under what is known as the Special Forces Qualification Course. There is also a paratrooper company within this program that specializes in those operations. As for the Helicopter Battalion, these men are in charge of training and, of course, flight for the helicopters, with their most recent inventory being the NH-90, which is a tactical helicopter, in which they have approximately 20 of them. They also have 7 lighter helicopters known as the MD-500. Now, as for their support company, this is basically their logistics department that work with the logistics center. As well, they are used not only for their special tasks, but logistics is the discipline of planning and carrying out the movement and maintenance of military forces. So the question now that stands is, what is the training like within this particular program? So for the Special Jaeger program, this is somewhat how the training goes down. First of all, to be a candidate for the program, a soldier, unless they show superior skills, usually has to be in the military for at least 7 years, and has served as a paratrooper or a diver for the Finland military. Also, when it comes to the paratrooper school in Finland, it is a voluntary application in which they have to complete a leadership training course, and about 350 people apply for it, and only about 60 to 80 are chosen to move forward. The deadline closes for the application in December, and the training begins in July. And throughout this entire service period, a paratrooper serves for approximately 347 days. Now, as for the Finland military forces, they definitely go by the American Cooper test, which is a test for physical and cardiac strength, where an average man has to run approximately 3,180 meters and can lift 240 pounds. Within all of this program, there's only approximately 100 of them that are chosen to do the final exam, which takes 4 days. After that, only 12 of them are chosen to get the extreme training within the Special Forces Utti Jaeger Regiment. Now, that's just a general look at how to get into the program. Now, what's it like actually in the program? During their training, not only do they learn to do high altitude jumps, but they work with all sorts of different equipment. This is known as the Special Forces course, in which if one is selected for it, they immediately become employed by the Defensive Forces of Finland for a fixed 12-month period. And of course, during their service, all training is paid for and provided by the military of Finland. As well, let's take a look at some of the equipment that these guys actually use. For the Special Forces, they will use for assault rifles the RK-95TP and the FN SCAR. Of course, there's the MP5 as a submachine gun and the Sacco TRG bolt-action sniper rifle, which is also Finnish-made and is one of the main snipers of the entire army of Finland. But as for today, the Special Forces of Finland have engaged in counter-terrorist operations, and of course, in history, they were present in operations such as the Continuation War, the Lapland War. But as for the specific Utti Jaeger Regiment, they've also been seen in combat in the War of Afghanistan, Kosovo, and have been a part of the EU Battle Group and the NATO Rapid Response Group for years. But of course, this is just a brief look at what comes out of the Utti Jaeger Regiment. Of course, we missed a lot of facts within this particular group, but keep in mind, guys, here on FTD Facts, we always love to continuously learn. Even if we do get some facts wrong, we're pretty humble about it. So if you guys know some more facts about this particular group, be sure to let us know down there in the comments section below. Also, if you guys want more Finland military content or just more content on Finland and the country as a whole, be sure to hit those like buttons, because if we get over 5,000 likes, then we know to do more content around this great country and its people. Of course, guys, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that bell notification so you can keep in tune with what we are doing every single day. We're always uploading and we're always doing stuff for you guys, so don't forget to leave comments and suggestions down there in the box below. But either way, this has been you and me learning about the special forces within Finland. A noble group which may not get as much worldwide media attention as its other counterparts, but however, they are just as tough and on the ball as any other special forces unit around the world. A group of brave soldiers who defend their country, its ideas, its civilians, and traditions. This is the Special Forces unit known as the Utti Jaeger Regiment of Finland, the soldiers of the brave, the quick, and the lethal. So, I hope you guys really liked that. By the way, here's some extra videos for you guys on Finland and some other topics that you guys might enjoy. Always tune into us, and we hope to see you again somewhere within our other videos. We love seeing your comments. And until then, guys, you have a fantastic day, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.